Okay, I hope everyone's doing okay. I know there's been a lot going on, at least in our community around Everett area, Linwood area, that's been happening. So the Zoom is especially important right now. I'll start because I know we do have a few new people. My name is Rainice. I go to Eastern University and I'm about to be a junior, and my major is political science pre-law. With my major, I want to become a civil rights attorney, and I'm also thinking about criminal justice now. I really just want to use that career to affect change in a positive way in the Black community, because as we know, the justice system is not nice to us. So I'm hoping to make a difference there, maybe with some type of nonprofit and stuff. So for these Zooms, I really want the focus to be on the youth, but we do have guest speakers and it's supposed to be like a learning environment. I want everybody to feel comfortable to speak and ask questions and vent about everything that they go through, and just basically come together and find a common ground, understand each other, and do all this, like I said, while learning. If anybody, I just want to remind you guys, if anyone wants to bring topics that they have questions on or anything, that's always welcome. Like if you have a question about why something is okay in the Black community but not another community, or like things like that, feel free to always bring them. You can bring them before the Zoom, or you can bring them up like while we're discussing and everything. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to remind everybody about. Does anybody have any questions before we get started, or anything to say before we start with the speaking? Okay. Really quick, I have to bring up something that's been relevant in, like I said, our community around Everett, Linwood, Marysville areas. I wrote a little piece on it just to keep us all in the loop. So this is addressing the Taras Tesfashian situation. I don't know if I'm botching her name, but I hope I'm not. I just wanted to discuss it because it happened in the Linwood area. So I'm going to read a little bit about what happened. On July 12, 2021, she was pulled over and arrested by Linwood police. In 36 hours, she was dead. Video surveillance shows that she clearly exhibited signs of distress, asking for help repeatedly. Police policy requires safety checks at least once every 60 minutes. The 5 officers on duty ignored her for nearly 3 hours. She was found unresponsive on the bathroom floor. Her death has been ruled a suicide. The state governor, Jay Inslee, requested an this is not what happened. This is what should have happened, but didn't happen. We should have the state governor, Jay Inslee, request an independent investigation. The on-duty police officers be held fully accountable for the willful neglect that led to her death. And the Linwood City Council vote no on the $69 million proposal to build a new jail. So those are just some broad things about everything that happened. I also researched deeper and saw that she had an infectious injury on her arm, a concern for drug withdrawal, and a disclosure of mental illness. So she was filed under special consideration. So even with all these things taken into account, she was still ignored for 3 hours when they literally put her in the category of special consideration. So I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't add up to me. Like, she was clearly dealing with mental illness and she was ignored for 3 hours when the protocol is to check once every hour. So in my opinion, this suicide could have been prevented had they done their jobs. And yeah, like I said, I had to bring it up. It's weighing heavy on me because it's in our community and people always think, oh, this is not happening where I live. That doesn't happen in Linwood. That doesn't happen in my backyard, when clearly it does. It happens a lot more than people would think in our communities. It happens everywhere because it's everywhere in the world and literally every aspect of life. What else was I gonna say almost? This is a perfect example of a racist system incorporated literally into everything. We're ignored when we go to the doctors and we're literally dying and we're saying what we need. We're ignored, like Taras, when it's clearly laid out what we need, and we're supposed to be under special care, or she was supposed to be under special care in the first place, and we're ignored in our universities, we're ignored in our workplaces. So basically we're ignored everywhere, but let's be real, they don't want to look. It's not, they don't know, they don't want to look. And so I feel like that's why the Zoom and other forms of activism have to continue, and we have to just like keep pushing. We can't be silent at all, because they want to ignore the problems that are going on. They want to keep them down. They want to not address them, and we can't let them, because that's been going on for too long. We have to keep speaking up. We have to keep making changes in small ways, even like the Zoom. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Does anybody have anything to add to that situation?
I do. Is that kind of like the Sandra Bland situation where she was also in police custody and then she died as well?
Yeah, I don't know if they're exactly similar in like how Taras was ignored and everything, but I mean, yeah, just another example of the system failing us. And it's just like, it's crazy how it can even be in that way. Like, it doesn't have to be one racist cop. It can just be something as simple as, you know, ignoring somebody in need. And that is kind of what happens a lot. I don't know if you guys feel like that in the Black community. Like, there's this like stereotype that Black people are supposed to be stronger than others. So they think we don't need help, or they think we'll be fine. Like, we're just being dramatic or whatever. And yeah, this just goes to show that it's like, when people say we don't see color, that is an issue, because you need to see us and our Blackness in order to fix these issues. You have to see what the issue is, and the issue does have to do with our skin color. So yeah, yeah, anybody else want to speak on it before we get started?
I think when people say that they don't see color, it just makes it sound even worse, because like the fact that you want to show that you're not racist by saying like, oh, I'm not even paying attention to it. I think it's so important to like appreciate people's differences, and like everybody's different, nobody's the same, and that's a good thing. But if you don't want to, like, it's a problem when you act like you don't want to see that. And like for that situation is really sad. And it does go to show like you don't have to be like blatantly racist. You have these little prejudiced thoughts, and it causes like somebody else's harm, like you're harming other people. So it's really sad and disappointing.
Yeah, that's so true. You literally just put it perfectly into words. Like, yeah, even your little racist thinking could be detrimental to Black lives. So yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, if everybody could, I would really appreciate if we could take maybe like 1 minute of silence for her, just in respect for her, because obviously the police officers did not feel that she deserved respect. So I'm gonna start it right now. All right, thank you guys so much for that. Sorry for starting off all nervousy. I just get nervous when new people join, so I'm like, I feel like I'm starting over again every time a new person joins. But thank you guys so much for listening to that aspect of everything. All right, we're going to get started with the speaking. Today we do have one guest speaker. I like to throw them in, but obviously keep most of the focus on the youth. So if I do like one guest speaker one time, then I'll have all youth the next times and then another guest speaker and stuff like that. So today for the speaking, we have Tatiana going first, and she's going to be speaking on representation. And then we're going to have Annette, or as I call her, Nettie, going second, and she's going to be speaking about lessons of the community as taught by the Black Panthers and relating them to things today. So with that being said, Tatiana, when you're ready, you can go ahead and start.
Okay, hi. I'm really nervous. I do have a lot to say, but the way my presentation sort of is formatted is my brain kind of just goes at 100 all the time. So I'm sorry if this doesn't make sense to you. I will try to say it in a way that makes sense to everybody. There basically is a lot that goes in with representation and why it matters. I think first and foremost, it matters because it's good to see, even as a young adult or as a child, it's good to see whether it's an actor or a firefighter or Obama even, it's good to see people of color in an honest light that isn't just thugs, bones, and harmony. You know, it's more than, we're more than just one thing. So I have little subcategories. I've got movies and TV and models and beauty. And I'll briefly go off with movies and TV. I will be looking down at my phone a lot. I'm sorry. I have a lot of screenshots that goes along with what I'm saying. But basically, I want to start off with Blackface. And Blackface, that could be a whole topic of its own. I'm just skimming the top of it. But basically, what goes into Blackface is, I'm going to show you a picture. It's obviously very offensive. I hope you can see this. As you can see, the white man looks very well put together, upper class. And as he puts on his blackface, he automatically, his hair's all disheveled, got the big lips and the big eyes and all this and that. And it actually started in 1441, which I thought was crazy. Again, that's like a whole thing of its own. But basically, it's theoretical makeup used predominantly by non-Black performers to portray a caricature of a Black person. And these Black people that I would portray is loud or lazy or a mammy, housemaid, or something along those lines. And I think having that be what first, like, you see in a movie is Blackface, and you just automatically think that's what all Black people are like. No, definitely not. Even back then, they think we're so lazy and we don't do anything. We literally built this land. Like, we built what you are on. So how are we, you hired us. So how are we the lazy ones? I've never understood that, but yes. Also, with the certain portrayals of characters, whether it's in a movie or a TV show or even stand-up comedy, it's always, you see the dark skin. Because I'm a woman, most of these pertain to females. I do have some stuff about Black men, but right now I'm talking about the females. And lighter skin versus darker skin. As a light-skinned woman, usually they're portrayed in movies as really pretty and high-end or stuck up or a tease, or everyone wants them because they're so pretty or all this and that. And then when a dark-skinned girl comes on, they're ghetto or loud or always in someone's business trying to fight somebody or doing all this and that. I think that's not right. I know many dark-skinned women who are highly educated, know what they want in life. They don't sit there and just fight people all the time like it's portrayed as. They're not prostitutes, they're not working the streets, they're not. And you know what, saying that, I do support all sex work. You do what you got to do. That is not my business. Just putting that out there. But that is not Black women. That is not every Black woman you see. They don't just work the corner. They're not just stealing, robbing, gold diggers. They're none of that. So I think that is very interesting that that's how it's portrayed. We do need more darker skinned actresses and actors, because it seems, a lot of what I read, it seems like movie producers or people in the movie industry go towards the lighter skinned people. Netflix, looking at you, there's like not one dark skinned woman on there, except for like How to Get Away with Murder, and that's not a Netflix original show, which I do love that show, and she's a very strong Black woman, and we need way more of that. But we barely have that, and it's very unfortunate because, like I said, I know so many Black women who are on top of the pyramid, and they just keep trying to knock us down. And I don't get it. I don't like it. I also have on here, if you've seen Dance Moms, that show way back ago with Abby Lee Miller, and it was very psychologically damaging to those poor little girls. I rewatched it and I was just like, why did I find this entertaining as a child? But there is one Black girl, Nia, and she was kind of always more towards the bottom of the pyramid. I'm not gonna say Abby Lee is racist. There is a few videos where she is being racist. I don't want to just blatantly call somebody that, but she does show it. And there were performances where Nia was the only one dressed up in animal print with a crazy afro. And one of her songs was called Laquifa, which is about a Black drag queen who is like a showgirl. And first of all, that whole, just a 9-year-old portraying a showgirl is crazy. On top of the fact you're gonna give the Black girl the Laquifa with the leopard print whole suit and no, like that is not who we are. We are not animals. We are human beings. We can be businesswomen. We can be lawyers. We can be movie producers. We can be music producers. We can literally do anything you can do. So I don't know why we're just portrayed as one thing over the other. No. Sorry, I get really heated. Moving on to models and beauty. So I have this quote. We all know Zendaya. I just brought her up. Her publicist had said something that was extremely ignorant, honestly. She was, I don't know what the magazine was. They did not say, but she was going to be on the cover of a magazine. And I guess she was going to be the first Black woman since forever to be on the cover of it. But Zendaya didn't like her hair. I don't know what the cover was. I don't know what the hairstyle was. They didn't go that much into detail about it. But she complained about her hair. She didn't like it. And her publicist said, you should just be happy with it. They haven't had a Black girl on the cover since forever. And my take on that is, okay, like, shouldn't you be probably not treating me better just because I'm Black, but treating me adequately because I am here I'm making history right now, and you're going to tell me that I can't have a preference of either what I want my hair to look like or my makeup. I can't have any say. I should just be happy with it because they chose the Black girl for once. No, I don't agree with that at all. And I wrote, how far are you willing to go to be the token Black person? And I don't know if any of you guys have been in that position where you're the Black girl, you're the Black person in the room. And it's so uncomfortable. I've been offered multiple job positions, specifically by one person. I won't say who they are, but they keep telling me, oh, they need more people of color, you should do this, or oh, you should go apply to that job because they need you, or all this and that. And it's always about me being Black. And it's never about, do I even have the education level to do what you're offering? Sorry, to do what you're offering me. Because sometimes she's offering me positions in like lawyer roles, and I just graduated high school. Like, I didn't go to college. When I do go to college, it's for hair. Like, I'm not doing all of that. So I think it's awkward. Like, I have to be put through, it's weird. I can't really explain it. It's a very uncomfortable situation to be in. So for Zendaya to be in a position like that, a woman of power also, I mean, she's like #1 goddess right now, like in America. And for a publicist to really say, you should just be happy with it. Should I be? Like, maybe you should just hire somebody else. At that point, like, I'm walking out. Like, I don't want to sit here and be your token Black person, so you can look good as a publicist and you can write it down on your resume. Oh, I got Zendaya the cover of this, and that. No, like that. You should want me because of what I bring to the table, my skills, what I can do with myself, not just what I look like, you know? I also wanted to bring up Black dolls, like Barbie dolls. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I wanted to bring it up because there was, I have a screenshot, I'm sorry. There was this man who wanted to buy, American entrepreneur Richard Boyd founded the National Negro Doll Company in 1911 after he tried to purchase dolls for his children, but could find none that were not gross caricatures of African Americans. And that's really sad, honestly, because in Europe, they had, it's a really old doll. I'm not sure how it was made, but there's a doll that has 3 faces on it. I assume maybe you click a button and the faces turn or whatever, but it was of 2 white faces and 1 black face. And the 2 white faces were happy white children and the black face was crying. And it makes us seem difficult. Children of color are harder to take care of. I need that. And it just makes us seem like we're just, like we're just hard to take care of. It's, you don't want to be with the black child because they're going to be crying all day and they're such a nuisance and all this and that. And I think that is wild because I love Black babies. They're so cute. I don't know. They're all great. When I work with children, I love them. The whole thing is just kind of crazy. Sorry. And then I also have hair representation, which I think is very important as someone who wears my hair naturally and in braids. I have felt so, like, whenever I wear either my hair curly or in braids, I get stared at a lot, kind of no matter what. I don't know if it's because people are like, oh, they like my hair, or if it's because, oh, her hair looks dry or it looks frizzy or something like that, because I used to be bullied for my hair in elementary school and it was horrible. And I literally just wanted to like cut my hair off. Then I was like, oh my God, if I cut my hair off, it's not going to be like these models that I see in the magazine. Like, why doesn't my hair flow down my back the ways theirs does? And it's not until recently, honestly, I feel that Black hair has really been more predominantly represented. And I don't mean just like my light-skinned hair. I mean Black girls' hair, like 4C, all the kinks and coils and everything that they can get. Like that just recently, honestly, I feel has started to be a thing. We need more of it because not everyone has straight hair. Like literally, even white people, not all of them have straight hair. I don't know why curly hair is such a frowned upon thing. Or like if you go into a job interview, you need to have your hair kept back or straightened to look more professional or something like that. I love wearing my hair out. I love wearing my hair in braids. I love my hair now. And I'm very happy I've gotten to that point in my life. I hope to see other little Black girls and boys be more comfortable with the hair that literally is growing out of their scalp. I love going into Target and they have the children's section and it's children of color and I love it. I did not have that as a kid. It was literally always gingers and blondes. It was never dark skins, light skins. And they had one who was in a wheelchair. And I was so happy about that because I was like, not everyone can walk either. Like it's a real thing. Not everyone can hear, not everyone can see. Like it's representation matters for everybody, not just us, but literally everyone. But obviously I'm just focusing on us right now. I also have, my last point is careers. And I think I brought this up mainly because my little brother wants to be a firefighter and he's obviously Black. But me and my mom, or my mom and my brother they chase fires. They listen to the police scanner and if they hear a fire, they'll go to it. I don't know. But usually when they go, it's all white firefighters and there's never any firefighter of color, which is like, yeah, I know it's kind of expected. But there was once recently a crash that happened right outside my mom's gate and they went to go check it out. And one of the firefighters who was he Mexican? He was Mexican. He walked up to my brother and was like, we need more people like you on our team. We need more representation. There's not a lot here. And even if you go onto the websites, like you will see the group photos of all the firefighters from the district. There's literally one Black guy and he looks uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable because I know what being in a situation like that is like. And we just need more, representation for any career, whether it's, I put down presidency, firefighters, sports, any career you can think of that is gonna have your face on it. We need more representation. And my mom was gonna say something about it. She hurt her back, so she's not here right now, but she wrote down a little something and she said, kids need to see people of color with their skin. People need to see, I'm sorry, I can't read. Kids need to see people with their skin color in all jobs so kids know it's possible for them too. And I 100% agree with this. When I was younger, I wanted to be a singer. Can't hold a note to save my life, but I wanted to be a singer. And all the singers, I'm not Britney Spears, I'm not Christina Aguilera, I'm not Pink, I'm not Gwen Stefani. Like there was so many that they showcase on the cover of magazines and on billboards is all these white women, and I'm not like that. It's very discouraging. It's like, can I do that too? Like, are they gonna allow me to be on screen? If you're Beyonce, the answer is yes. But if you're anyone else, you're kind of below that, and it's very unfortunate. She also said teams, and by teams, she means like co-workers, like in a job. She said teams need to be diverse so that BIPOC candidates feel comfortable during their interview. And I agree with everything she said. So sorry if I say that a lot, but I also agree with this because every job that I've ever applied for has been with a white person. And I'm constantly like, I go in there and I'm like, they're so not gonna like me because I'm Black, or they're not gonna like me because I wore my curls out today, or they're not gonna like me for this, or that. And I swear, like, I feel like I've not been hired for jobs because I am Black. I cannot tell you for 100% sure, but that is literally how I feel because I apply for regular jobs. Like there's nothing more with my education that I really need to do. And I'm I talk a lot, obviously, like I'm a very much a people person. Like there's no reason I shouldn't be hired unless you're racist. So I don't know, but I definitely feel like that because it's uncomfortable going into a situation like that. Like I said, it's being the only Black person. It is literally get out all the time. And I hate that feeling. Like I really don't like it. She also said teams need to be diverse so they feel comfortable hiring people of color. And I also agree with that because if you're in a panel with a bunch of white people, are those white people then going to be like, yeah, they look like a great candidate, maybe we should look at them more often? Or are they going to go with the white people because that's what they're comfortable with, because it's what their job, that's all their employees are just white people and that's what they know and they don't want to be uncomfortable for themselves? What if they say something wrong? Or I don't know. That whole thing is, I wish my mom was here so she could talk more about it. Something happened at her job. Hopefully next session, we'll be able to talk about it more. She's going to HR with it. So after she goes to HR, we'll have some tea, but right now we don't have any. But yeah, so all in all, representation matters. Actually, hold on, I have one last picture to show. It is literally me. And that model right there, we have the same hair. And I was like, yes, braids are professional. Hair that grows out of your scalp is professional. Like that kid who had to cut his dreads or he couldn't graduate high school. Why? Like, is that stopping him from literally writing with his hands any equation you give him or any assignment? Like, no. So representation matters because it helps people like me or like my brother or literally anyone else know you are worthy, you can do it, everyone can do it. It's not just a white, I don't know the word, but it's not just for white people, it's for all of us. Okay, we can all hold hands and be friends. It's really not that hard. So yeah, representation matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really love all the points that you touched on there. I'm going to read a few things that were said in the chat while you were talking. Katrina said, sorry, my computer's tweaking. Why isn't it letting me? Oh, there we go. Katrina said, you should be hired for your skills, not as a decoration for a company. Very true. And then Nettie said, the systems within the United States were created to make us BIPOC feel less than, to make us feel uncomfortable and not to have confidence. Representation does matter to empower our people. Very true. So along with the points that Tatiana mentioned, and she basically did like cover this, she talked a lot about why the right type of representation matters, because a lot of the time we're represented, but not for our entirety, just like you were saying, Ty. Or like, for example, with the police brutality situations, they represent us in a certain light. They represent us as thugs, like we deserved to be killed. We're just represented in negative ways a lot. It is starting to change with 2021 and all these realizations, and we're getting more representation, but it needs to be a lot more, because it really does make a difference for like Black people growing up, for Black girls. Like, I'm pretty sure almost every single Black girl went through a period, like you said, of like straightening our hair because we don't feel comfortable with it, because we don't see enough people out there with it. So I really quickly wanted to talk about some examples of bad representation. Let me see what I have here. So for example, in politics, because I'm going into politics, it's crazy. You see it all the time. It's really scary going into politics, one, as a woman, but two, as a Black woman, because there is very little Black people in politics, which is probably where we need them the most. One example of a bad representation for us is Candace Owens. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. She's a big Trump supporter, and she doesn't agree with Black Lives Matter. She just says a lot of things that it's like, you have this big platform, you're a Black woman in politics, and that's not the type of representation that we need. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of representation that can hurt us and can make us feel worse about ourselves and can make others feel worse about us. And the more representation we have, honestly, the more people will be comfortable with us. Because people a lot of the times aren't comfortable because they don't know or they don't understand, you know, so representation can help with that too. I just saw this thing the other day of this cartoon I used to watch, and I didn't even register, obviously, as a child, but I saw a clip, and there's one Black character on the cartoon. And there was an episode where I think she normally had like some different type of hairstyle, but then like something got on her hair and it like froed out like this. And then everybody stares at her and it gets all quiet. And then they start making fun of her. And then she just runs off crying. And just thinking about that, like, imagine me as a little Black girl, not even registering that, but watching that, seeing her hair poof out, how my hair poofs out, and then everybody making fun of her and her running away and crying. Like, that type of representation can really hurt a Black child growing up. And then you internalize stuff and you don't even realize it because it's just in the shows you're watching. And then just like you were mentioning also, stereotypes. Like, we all, as a Black community, we love to mess around a lot of the time. Some things do be true, I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes those stereotypes really do hurt us, and they make what's it called, they make white people sometimes think of us in a certain way, or that's the only way people want to think of us instead of our entirety, like we've been talking about. So yeah, I really like all the points that you mentioned, and I think representation is super important, literally in all aspects. Even in the most weird jobs, we need representation, because we have to make change in, like I said, even small ways. Like, shoot, plumbing, we need representation. We need representation literally any area. So yeah, Ty, I know you have something else to say.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I was saying so much stuff, I can't keep up with myself. But with the whole movie industry, like you said, how they represent us as thugs and whatnot and gangsters. I actually looked it up, and 60% of the time out of this article, they looked at 220 films, and 60% of them represented Black men as thugs or gangsters or gangbangers or getting in trouble with the police. Whereas for doctors and lawyers, we were at a very low 9 and 3%. So that representation is also putting us in such a bad light. And, you know, a little thing just popped up in my head as the whole thug thing. My dad is Black. He's pretty dark in my opinion, but he's clearly Black when you see him. And he had a new Mercedes back in the day, and he went to work, and this officer, he told us, this officer literally, like, I don't know where he was, like what road or how it was happening, but he had told us that the officer like didn't even do a U-turn. He like backed all the way up to my dad and asked him like, is this your car? And it's like, bro, like my name's on the registration. Why would you automatically assume because I'm in a nice car and my skin is dark that it's not mine? Is that because it's what you see in movies? Did you grow up that way? Like, where are you getting that from? So yeah, also just wanted to put that in. But representation is so important. Like you said, there's so like that fro and they cried. I've never seen that. That is literally me, like all throughout elementary school. Because I remember this one time I will never forget. And I want to say his name, but I'm not going to. But he literally said I was pretty for one day. And it was the day I straightened my hair. I was like, oh.
That happened to me. That's so crazy. That exact situation literally happened to me. I can't believe that, bro. That's why I started straightening my hair for freaking 5 years after that.
Dude, right. I was like, oh my God, okay. Like, thanks for the information. I'm gonna carry that baggage for the rest of my life. But it's just like, we just need more afros, we need more curly hair, we need more short curly hair. Not everyone has long hair. I don't know why that's such a beauty standard. I love short hair. If you can rock it, Halle Berry, go for it. Like, do you? Sorry, I literally could talk all day, but yeah, thanks again.
Yes, thank you so much. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
I can relate so much with like the hair situation. In elementary school, I went to Whittier in Everett, and it was more of like first, it wasn't that diverse, and everybody that was there, like I think had a lot of money, and it was just like, I don't know, it made me feel uncomfortable and kind of like as an outsider a lot. And then so in middle school, I like bleached my hair and dyed it red, and I would like straighten my hair every single day. And then like it was just like a cycle because my hair was breaking off and it was always straight, but I didn't want to stop doing it because it's like you said, people only wanted straight hair. And I think that ties in so much with representation, because if you always see white woman, blonde hair, straight hair, that's all people expect from you. And anything else is like, I don't really like how that looks. But I think once I finally, I think probably freshman year or sophomore year, once I finally started treating my hair like my hair and not somebody else's hair, then that's when everything went better. And like I feel a lot more comfortable with like my own features and stuff. And I just think it's definitely really important. Like you need to, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Growing up, you really want to see positive like aspects of yourself highlighted like so many other people's are. And when you don't, it's like, what's wrong with me and how I look then? And you don't like yourself, or it leads to you to think like, why am I not being represented? And then also I wanted to say something like, today I was watching on Netflix something about like the crack epidemic and stuff. And I thought it was crazy because they were saying how like during that time, the people that were using crack, 2/3 of the people were white, but nobody, like for the people that they locked up in Los Angeles, there was no white person that was charged for like having crack in their possession. It was only Black people that were being locked up for that, because they went specifically for those people, even though crack and cocaine were the same thing and it was already being used, but because Black people were using it, now it's this whole, oh, it's drugs and this and that. And then in movies, also representation, they were portraying Black moms who use crack as like, they'll give their kids up for crack, they'll do anything just to smoke crack. And they didn't provide any background or anything like that to back it up. And it's like, if you constantly want to portray these people a certain way, or Black people a certain way, and then wonder why like everything is the way it is. It's like, why are you crying out like that? It's so annoying.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so true. I think you really touched on how like one, representation is like, it's basically like a weapon. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad. And I feel like also representation is normalization. So the more we see Black hair, the more we think it's professional, you know. The more we see Black people in politics, the more we think we can be a Black person in politics. Like Obama was cool and all, but like that was a one-time thing. We need to see it like consistently happening. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to be the president, but do I feel like I could right now? No, because I don't see a lot of people that look like me in that profession. And if we do see it, it's just not in the best way sometimes. Like some of these people in politics have me messed up. I'm just like, why? You are a Black person and this is what we need. We need you to use your platform. I mean, even Kanye in music, like you have a beautiful platform. Why are you using it to do certain things? I don't know. It's just frustrating, like you guys said. So yeah, I really appreciate the points that everyone's made. Does anybody else want to add on to what we've been talking about? Anybody who hasn't spoken, maybe? Oh, somebody put something in the chat. Okay. Gabby said, Black women always have to have their hair perfect all the time. Also, bonnets are considered ghetto now, which doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If people start to see us more represented as who we are as an entirety, they start to see us in our bonnets, they start to see us in our natural hair in the workplace, then it's going to become normalized. And it's going to be just like how it is for us as a community. Everyone should be, you know, seeing it in that same way, and everyone should be able to feel comfortable in their own skin. And that happens with more representation in every aspect, every job, everywhere, basically. Thank you so much for that, Gabby. Does anybody else have anything? I had a lot, but like Ty said, everybody says one thing and then my mind goes somewhere else and then I just jump around and I lose it. Anybody else want to say anything though? No. Okay, thank you guys so much for that discussion on representation. It could honestly go on and on, but now I think is a good time to move on to Nettie's speech. So Nettie, when you're ready, go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm not feeling 100%, but I really wanted to do this presentation. Ray, do you have the ability to let me share my screen or?
Yes, I do. I always forget that there we go. Okay, I think it's good.
So I kind of wanted to talk today about community. I think it's so important that as youth and as you all walk through your lives, there's one thing a good friend of mine told me, and it sounds really backwards, but I actually really believe it, that desegregation hurt the Black community. And when she said that, I said, at first I was like, I don't know, why would we want to be segregated? And then she explained, she said, you know, before desegregation, we had communities and we were able to be together. And we were able to work together and provide for each other's family and look out for each other. And when, you know, desegregation happened, you know, we got mixed in with populations that we had no business mixing with. And then now we don't, you know, talk to each other. And I think many of you will see, you know, even in my lifetime right now, in this state only, I only have like maybe 4 Black friends. You know, all the other, you know, Black people I know are my family in other states and such, just because even though there is, you know, a large contingent of Black people here, you just don't get together enough. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about community And mainly I want to talk about the Black Panther Party. And the Black Panther Party is a group that a lot of people, in your history books, you don't get, you maybe get like a sentence or a paragraph in. But the issue that they really harped on was being in community and supporting one another. And you might hear things about them being Marxist and them being, socialist and all those things. And don't take everyone's word for it that that's awful. Do your own research. But one of the things that the Black Panther Party did was they created a 10-point program. And so on this 10-point program, they did, kind of like what it is that they feel they needed for the Black community to be successful. And I'm not going to read all of them, but some of them were: we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black and oppressed communities. 2, we want full employment for our people. We want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings. We want completely free healthcare for all Black and oppressed people. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people, other people of color, all oppressed people inside the United States. And then we want an immediate end to all wars of aggression. So that was their 10-point plan. The Black Panthers, they did a lot for their communities. They were able to create a school, an elementary school, where Black students were able to go and get a really decent education. They created a lunch program where they fed the kids, and they offered a lot of like resources and help to members in the community down in Compton and Los Angeles to be able to get homes or get finances for bailing out of jail for different things. So they really were sort of the blueprint, I think, to community involvement, to community support, and really what we should be looking for to see today. Huey Newton, I just read a biography about him, but one of my favorite quotes from him was, "The task is to transform society. Only the people can do that. Not heroes, not celebrities, not stars." So we can look at all these people that are, standing up for injustices, that are famous, but, where are those people right now? And where do those people, how do they shape your community? We live in Snohomish, Washington, Snohomish County, Washington. What would those famous people be able to do for us? Not much. They can make visits to the White House and do all these little things, but they really don't change our day to day. As much as people harp on wanting to, vote for the correct president, the president at the end of the day doesn't affect our local community. It doesn't make sure that we have food in the mouths of our kids and our families. Only we can do that. So I looked around the country and just saw a few organizations that have 10-point programs or have done things. And these are youth-led organizations. So I love that Rainice is doing this because, it really does start, we as adults haven't done enough. We're still working and still striving to create a good environment for our kids, but really it's going to be on you all. And so I'm really glad to see a lot of communities where the teens are starting to take over more. So there's like Black Visions, I believe they're in Chicago, Black Lives Matter, Vanguard, Minneapolis, the Next Gen Come Up, and then New York City Youth Collective, just a few. There's hundreds though, there's hundreds of them. And so all of them created, a lot of them created their own 10-point programs. Like this one out of Chicago, they have accountability for police murder and torture, justice for all killed by police, and youth incarceration, invest in community resources, things like that. This one was by an undocumented group that I think was in Arizona. they have like things like delegation of tasks. Oh wait, students' energy should not be used as a tool or resource without consent and for administration to further their agendas. And there shouldn't be unsupplemented income for those. There should be supplemented income for those in school. And then a vision for Black lives through the movement for Black lives is the end of war on Black people. Reparations, talking about divest and invest, economic justice, community control, political power. And then I looked up in our local community in, Snohomish. There's some groups in Seattle, but there isn't anything that definitely jumps out as a team-led group or a youth-led group. So, but here are a few that are out there that maybe you can become a part of and create that youth movement. The NAACP of Snohomish County, Leadership Snohomish County, Snohomish Ebony PAC, Northwest Justice Project, and Persist PAC. And then Fred Hampton, another Black Panther for the Illinois chapter who was killed. He basically his quote is, "If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. If you dare not to struggle, then damn it, you don't deserve to win." I think at the end of the day, I'll stop sharing my screen here. We have to remember that, it takes a little piece of all of us to make change and to make difference in our communities. It's not enough to, just talk about it. It's, we have to make solid movements towards doing something to create good community for our people. So whenever you get a chance, like being a part of this with Rainice and telling your friends about what you've talked about and going to protest and, going to these shelters. There's a place in Seattle called Bird Place, and they give out food and give out resources to the Seattle community, but they're wonderful because they are run by a Black CEO, and she's, I believe she's Nigerian, but she just told me that last year they became more diverse, and I asked her, "Oh, how'd that go?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, so now we have 3 white people." And so I thought, like, I wanted to work there because I was like, for her and her business, they hire nothing but Black people. So their diversity was bringing in a couple white people. And in my organization, bringing in people of color is not the norm. And to see someone else that's Black in my office, this last week we just hired a Black person in my office. So there's 2 of us. And that's a sad, sad state. So I'd rather work for her, but she doesn't have an opening right now. So anyway, so my big point is that we can look to the past for great information to lead us into the future. The Black Panther Party did such good work despite all the things that the FBI tried to do to make them seem like not a great organization. But don't listen to that, do your research and just be more part of the community. So hopefully we can, have a better future for everyone, for your little, little brothers and sisters, for your little cousins, for everyone. So thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed that presentation. We already have some people wanting to speak off of that. Serenity, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I put the clapping reaction. Oh, my bad.
I thought it was the hand raising one. That's what it looked like from my computer. Okay. Well, what I was gonna say was, it's crazy. I like how you incorporated old stuff to bring it to today because it's so relevant. A lot of the time I hear Black people saying they don't like the Black Lives Matter movement because of the fact that we're not cohesive in it. Like coming together is what would make a movement like that super strong. So I really like how you touched on how important it is to like build community and do things for our community, because that's really how we build each other up. And right now it's hard to make change, I feel like, because we're not all one. We're all like, these Black people don't like what these Black people are doing, and we just need to figure out how to have some common ground, because that's how we make the most effective change. It kind of reminds me of like how there were some people who agreed with Martin Luther King and then some people who agreed with Malcolm X, but in the end, it's like everybody realizes we all have to come together to fight for one goal. We all have the same goal. So like, let's put those differences aside and figure out how we can build ourselves up, basically. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. Did anybody else want to speak on her presentation? Ty, go ahead.
The whole presentation, just with the whole Black Panthers thing, reminded me of the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. I hope I'm saying that right. I love that movie. I've seen it like 3 times. Some of it's still kind of hard for me to grasp just because, like I said, my brain is constantly going, so I miss some parts. But I really liked the scene, which kind of reminds me of what your whole presentation is on, is when, oh yeah, I'm really bad with the main character. I'm so sorry. He goes to a different group of Black activists and he asks them, like, why don't we just work together? Why are we separated? Why don't we just, we're all fighting, like Rainey said, we're all fighting for the same thing. Let's just come together. And I definitely agree with that. I don't know why we separate ourselves. It has never made sense to me. Whether we separate ourselves because someone's darker or someone's lighter, it is within our own community. We all deal with injustices, whether it's the same or not. Like, we all have the same things that are happening underneath it all. We all experience racism in some type of way. And I think it is important for all of us to come together and work as a group, because you're going to get more done as a group than you are individually. Even, I know we love our independent women, but sometimes we all just got to come together and group ourselves. And dude, stop. Sorry, my brother. And yeah, so I really like that presentation. I was going to do a presentation. I don't know how to do PowerPoint, but I really appreciate you putting it into simple terms like that. So thank you for all of that.
I'm always available to teach PowerPoint. It's all I do all day. One of the things about that belt is that I think it's really hard for people, especially Black people, to come together, because we've always been taught to judge each other and to judge, everyone. So, I've been guilty of that. There's, definitely people that I've seen go in front of like the mayor of Seattle or, the governor, and I'm like, why are they the person? They don't, they don't really stand for much, but really they're the person that stepped up. Really, they're the person that's made inroads to make that happen. So instead of judging them, I should support them. And I think that's what we gotta get out of the preconceived notions that we know better, or that we can judge people because we don't think that, that they're honest or this or that. We need to work together and just work as one, because, being separated, it just prolongs all the good that we can do. So yeah, for sure. Everyone be mindful of being too judgy about who's leading a group or who's doing this because you've seen them do something on the side or whatever. They're the people stepping up. So, I mean, because in a few years, we'll be learning a little bit more about Martin Luther King, but will that change how we feel about him or what he's done for our community? I don't think so.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a really good point. And I definitely agree with how we always just find something, even just as people, like we always find something to tear each other down with. And yeah, we're always more effective in numbers, I feel like. So yeah, once we can like really form a cohesive movement or like a group, even like you were saying, Nettie, I feel like that'd be so amazing. I do remember I used to go to this thing called Youth Development Program. I know Serenity, you know about that. And we tried to start a youth NAACP chapter, but it's like we couldn't get enough interest. There was only like 4 people in the group, and like we advertised it, we threw a barbecue, like we were really trying to push for it, but it wouldn't come off of the ground. And I don't know, it's hard to like get everybody on the same page. I feel like that's like something we really struggle with. But once we do get on the same page, look what the Black Panthers were able to achieve, you know, with their 10-point program. We could definitely learn a lot from that today. And like, yeah, so I really appreciated your presentation. And someone in the chat, my Auntie Danny, said, such a good presentation. Thank you for that. Trey said, if you want to try starting that up again, that sounds amazing. I'd join. Right. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, shoot, this is like, I wish I had something like this before, because that'd be awesome. Like we could have all like worked on so much. It was like when I was going to Mariner, I think I was like a sophomore. Also, I just had brought the idea of it up, and all of a sudden I was the one who was in charge of everything. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I've never done anything like this. So maybe it'd be better now that, you know, we have a group of people already knowing each other and stuff. Cause yeah, I feel like making change in a whole bunch of ways is needed. Like you said, food drives, or what other ideas would you guys have that we could do to build up our community, our Black community, even just locally? Because like she said, there's a lot of talk surrounding like celebrities and their big movements, but we also need to start from the ground and like work our way up there, you know? Does anybody have ideas for that?
Maybe like a cleanup or like a get together. Maybe instead of doing this over Zoom, so like in social distance, of course, but have conversations together.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. We could like, especially because it's still kind of nice out, it'd be cool to like do a socially distanced picnic or something. And like, even just with the topic of community, even just getting together builds that community and stuff. So yeah, having a space where we all feel comfortable to barbecue and listen to our music and everything. Trey in the chat said, if you want to try, oh, just kidding, I already read that. Back to school drives or volunteer work in school, involve the kids. Yeah, that's a good idea too. I really agree with that. Especially because yeah, starting at a young age is probably what's better to like, you know, make it stronger, make it stick, make that ideal start at a young age. Does anybody else have any ideas on that? No, alrighty. Thank you so much, Nettie. Did you have any other last thoughts to leave us with?
Just thank all of you for, you know, stepping up and talking and having the discussion. It's always good to get together. And like I said, it's really hard to get a group of Black youth together, but it's good to see that you're able to do that. So continue to do it. Just make the time for it. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And yeah, to just relate the two topics, because I don't know, somehow, I don't even try to do this, but somehow I always feel like they end up relating. Like, I feel like the more community we have, the more we can push for that representation as a whole, you know? And that's really where we could start making the change stick. That's the problem I have is like, yeah, 2021, it's cool to be woke. It's cool to have Black hair right now. And it's cool to have big lips and all this, but it's like, it doesn't stick. It's not genuine. So I feel like, yeah, we really all have to start working together to change these issues of representation, of just all the numerous things that happen in our community. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm going to stop the recording.